Great. Hi, Adam.
Hey, how are you doing? Can you
I'm
hear
fine,
me?
thanks. How are you?
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let me turn you up a little bit. Sorry. There
Great.
we go.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today. We're so excited to have you.
Happy to be here.
Great, thanks. And for those tuning in and watching, I'll just go through a little bit of your credits so they have a little background of who you are. So Adam Jacobs here created the title role of in the Broadway premiere of Aladdin, having been with the production since the first out-of-town tryout in 2011, and he subsequently toured as Aladdin on the first national tour, which played here in San Francisco at the Orpheum Theater in 2017. And Adam's other Broadway credits include Amores in Les Mis and Simba in The Lion King. And his national
Yes.
tours include Mamma Mia, Cinderella, Les Mis, and The Lion King. And probably most exciting for us is Adam is originally from right here in the Bay Area in Half Moon Bay.
Whoop whoop.
Yes. Um, oh, and Aladdin is here, and Aladdin says, that guy looks familiar. Yeah. So thanks for joining us today. And I just wanted to know how have you been doing these past 7 months for you and your family? I know you and your wife Kelly have twin boys, and so I'm sure
Yes.
they've been they've been with you at home.
They've been keeping me very busy, for sure. I mean, that's probably the silver lining in all this is that, I'm not alone. I have my wife and my kids. They just started first grade. And they're doing the in-person. They started at home with the e-learning, and then they're slowly moving to in-person, which is great. And yeah, I mean, they're very musical kids. A little Alex is already making up different lyrics to songs. He's a little Lin-Manuel Miranda on my hands. So yeah, so I've been good. I've been fortunate, to be able to have my family with me and not just be like twiddling my thumbs. What am I going to do? And since moving away from New York City, because now my base is in Chicago, and being here has been just cool to meet new people in this community and figure out the theater scene here. And while everything has stopped, it's still nice to sort of have a base and a house. I came from a small apartment in Queens. So it's nice now to have like a backyard. I've been keeping busy, become a little bit of a green thumb. My wife and I, we did a backyard Broadway intensive for some local theater kids because everything was shut down and all their shows, were canceled in the spring. We thought, let's do something. And so we did some musical theater classes and some great hits we did Aladdin, Friend Like Me. We did Step in Time from Poppins, since my wife starred in Mary Poppins on Broadway. And, we just threw some stuff together, some singing, some monologues, some acting, some scene work. And the kids just loved it. They ate it up. They're like, you got to do more of these. So that's kind of what we've been doing to keep busy.
That's awesome. The actors I've been talking to, it's been great to hear how they've been staying creative, and a lot of them, including yourself, have been passing on that knowledge and talent to the younger generation, and been working with kids. Because as you said, that it's been a great outlet for kids to get to still be involved in the arts, and it's great that you're contributing your talent to that.
Yeah, a lot of my friends, a lot of the Broadway community, they're finding a creative outlet through teaching and whether it's voice lessons or master classes, and I think it's great. We're really it feels like we're all kind of working together to bring in the next generation of theater goers and theater lovers, and I know that once all this is over, it's just going to be an explosion of energy, and I can't wait for all that to happen.
Yeah, and I saw that earlier in the pandemic that you performed for first responders in Chicago.
I did, yeah. It was through Broadway in Chicago, actually. They, Eileen, she helped set it up, and we went to a couple hospitals, and I got to sing for the first responders. They all came out front, and I sang "Circle of Life" and the Star Spangled Banner. And my wife and kids got to come, and they held up homemade signs that they had, it was really touching, and I felt particularly moved just seeing these people putting their lives on the line and being able to do something to give back to them, because they're giving everything, they're sacrificing so much, being apart from their families, quarantining from their families, and we're not doing enough for them, and the little thing that I could do, bring a little bit of joy for that day, I thought, and a little bit of encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
It felt good to me, you know?
Yeah.
And I think they enjoyed it too.
Oh, that's awesome. I just wanted to give a shout out to Peter Nurther in the comments. Sorry if I butchered your name. He says, thanks so much, Mr. Jacobs. You are my role model as an upcoming actor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Peter.
Great. And so for people watching us live, feel free to leave any questions in the questions box or leave them in the chat, and we'll get to them. And so this is your chance to ask Adam any questions that you have. And so for us, for the first question that I have for you, so you played Aladdin from 2011 to 2018, including here in San Francisco. And I just wanted to know, what did it mean for you to play such a beloved character on stage?
Oh, it was incredible. I loved Aladdin since I was a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody, at least Filipinos, I think, but you know, mostly everybody just loved that. I related to that guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a kid that kind of looked like me.
Right.
He was cool. He was dodging guards and, you know, and getting the girl and the treasure. And you know, it was amazing. And if you would have told my younger self that I would play that role on Broadway, I would never have believed it. No way. It was a great privilege and an honor and a lot of pressure. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Disney, they don't play around. Like, this is it's their property in a way. So they are entrusting me with playing this role, and we had to perform it for all the different facets of Disney, you know, Disney Records, Disney Animation, all the way up to the CEO of Disney. Bob Iger had to check off on it. So it's like, you know, it's a big corporation. And so we had to, you know, make sure we were doing justice to the original vision, but also making it our own. And luckily I had a great director, Casey Nicola, who gave me the freedom to kind of make it, find elements of myself that I could bring to the role. And it was a demanding role. You know, I had to do so much, and because of that, it was the most rewarding role that I've done to date.
Oh, that's great. And so, what was it like getting to create the character of Aladdin from the very beginning, and make the character your own?
Yeah, so I got really spoiled, right? Originating a role is every actor's dream, and you know, I never want to have to do another role where I can't like help create it. So I'm definitely spoiled myself. But so back in 2010 was actually the first reading. And I, you know, had a table read with Jonathan Freeman sitting next to me. You know, and he has his first line, 1,000 apologies, Your Majesty. And I'm like, whoa, mind-blowing moment.
It's happening.
It's happening. The real Jafar is sitting next to me. He's gonna destroy me. So, you know, there was obviously that excitement of creating a new show. And plus we had such an amazing group of people. I mean, you had the original Jafar, not only him, but you had all these amazing actors and actresses, and Disney went all out with the sets and the costumes, and it was this huge spectacle and this amazing production. And yeah, I mean, I just kind of went along for the ride, right? I mean, I got to fly on the carpet and do all that, and I still kind of mind blowing when I think back, just the journey, because, you know, from Seattle to Toronto to then Broadway to then the national tour, because I closed out my Aladdin journey on the road, and San Francisco and then LA were my final two cities. And yeah, it's just an incredible journey that I was being able to do, and I was so lucky. Yeah.
And then how did your journey to play Aladdin begin? I know that you were in The Lion King previous to
yeah, I was actually here in Chicago, where I am now. I was performing at the Cadillac Palace Theater playing Simba, and unbeknownst to me, the producers were in the audience, and they had come out just to check up on the show. It's kind of what they do sometimes. And a lot of times they don't announce themselves. They want to show up and, you know, make sure everything's good to go. And they had a conversation saying, you know, this kid Adam, you know, he might be good for Aladdin. They didn't tell me. They told my agent, and they called me and said, we want to fly Adam in, take a week off the tour, and fly him to New York to do the first readings. And that was back in like October of 2010. And when I got that call, I was so excited, because I was like, wait, what? They're doing Aladdin? No way. And so, yeah, I didn't have to, and I don't have to audition. You know, that's the other thing, right? Yeah. I got to go in and do my thing. And I did well enough that they kept, you know, calling me back for the next presentations. And it's very rare when you have a cast that, you know, from the beginning, you know, building the show from the presentations to go all the way through to the Broadway opening. That doesn't happen very much. And, you know, that's a credit also to Casey and to the producers for trusting us and saying, we know we got something good here with these guys. So, you know, we're going to stick with them. And thank goodness, you know, I'm lucky they did.
Yeah. And you played from Aladdin for so many years over the past decade. I'm just wondering how did playing the character develop over time, since from your beginning and through Broadway and Toronto and the national tour?
That's a great question. So, you know, early on, it was all just kind of like being shot out of a cannon. And I think for me personally as an actor, I tend to make it, you know, you have a short amount of time in rehearsal to, you know, come up with this character. And I found that as the show progressed, you know, maybe a year in on Broadway, I really felt like I hit my stride in terms of who this guy really was and how I was able to just find the nuances, you know, like, and let that sort of kind of marinate. And it just, you know, and it doesn't happen very often where a lot of times you just have to go and trust your first decisions. But I find that, you know, that after that rehearsal process ends, which is such a sad time because I love playing around and rehearsing and making discoveries. So, you know, after the show is quote unquote frozen, as the time went on, I kind of changed some things here and there, and it just felt, you know, fresh and new. And I continued to find moments throughout my journey with Aladdin. And then, you know, my kids were born first day of rehearsal for Aladdin on Broadway. I don't know if many people know that, and it's crazy, right? You know, twin boys born first day of rehearsal. And so once they kind of reached a certain age, singing Proud of Your Boy took on a whole new meaning, right? So, yeah, the whole thing. And then I had a new cast when I joined the tour, right? And that was a whole, and they were, you know, they were a little bit younger, so I kind of felt like I was like the veteran guy coming in, and you know, and you know, they teased me, and it was fine. It's fine. But that whole energy was fresh and new and exciting. And again, I made new there were new choices being thrown at me, so I had to obviously adjust my show, and it was great. I never got tired of playing the role, and it's such a fun role, and I hope that, you know, anybody who gets to do it will experience the same thing.
Oh, great. And what was it like to so you've taken Aladdin all over the country, and what did it mean for you to get to perform for hometown audiences, here in San Francisco?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, San Francisco, you know, there's nothing. I went to St. Ignatius College Prep down in the Sunset District. So, you know, my mentor there, Mr. Peter Devine, and also my mentor at ACT, Mr. Craig Slate, he brought both of them were able to bring in students to come see the show. And, you know, we'd have a talk back, and I you know, introduce myself and talk to them after the show, and just being able to, you know, kind of give back to them, especially SI, because I was cast in all of the musicals and shows there, and well, almost all of them. And I just felt like, you know, this is cool, such a full circle kind of moment to help out and sort of give a little bit of inspiration to where I came from, and to sort of say, look, you know, I was where you are right now, and it's possible, right? I mean, that's the best that you can do. And I always made it a point to greet the fans after the show at the stage door. I always felt like it was just the right thing to do. You know, if people want to see me and take a picture and you know, and ask me questions, then I felt like I was obligated to do it, and I wanted to. I really did, because I thought, you know, they're not going to want my autograph forever. You know?
Right.
So you may as well just take advantage of it. And yeah, so that was it.
Oh, that's great. Anne Maria DKSF says Peter was so excited to see your amazing performance in Aladdin.
Yay. Yeah, I was so excited to see him. And, you know, I love that man so much. He really encouraged me. He was the one guy who was like, you can do this if you want to do it for a career. And that set me on the path for sure.
Oh, that's great. And Ray Athena says, I remember seeing you and your sister's concert in SF. I loved it.
Oh yeah, we did our Sibling Disobedience show up at the Fairmont, and yeah, the Broadway Cabaret series, and yeah, we loved that show, and we loved performing there, and we did we did a song and dance troupe growing up called Razzle Dazzle Kids, it was in Daly City with Teddy Lightfoot, and she was a great vocal teacher, and she you know, set us up, and we performed at the Filoli Mansion, you know, for the winter, and you know, we had a whole set, you know, a whole thing that we did, and so that was kind of my early performing experiences around San Francisco was through that, and I have to credit my sister for kind of dragging me into that.
Great, and yes, your sister Ariel Jacobs, she also performed the role of Princess Jasmine in Australia and on Broadway after you departed the production, and yeah, so what did it mean for the two of you to share this like Aladdin experience together?
It was amazing. I mean, you know, when I first got the role, I think her agent had said, yeah, I'm getting an audition for Jasmine, and then I booked the role, and she's like, oh man, you know, it's like obviously we can't play opposite each other. But then when she got the role in Australia, that was a big deal, and especially my parents. They were so happy. We created a little video, like a reveal video, to kind of tell them that Ariel booked the role, and they, you know, my parents were just like over the moon. And they're like, "How did this happen? This is so weird." You know, we have these two kids that are in the same, starring on Broadway, and you know, doing the same show. You know, what's that? You know. So yeah, I'm very happy that she was able to take the role on Broadway after Australia, after I left, and yeah, you know, she's doing her thing, and I'm proud. She just recently got married too, so I'm very happy for her. Yeah.
Great. And Brandon Burgett says that reveal to the fan was so incredible.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was actually my sister's now husband's idea. Was like, you guys should do a video, secret camera, set it up, and get the reactions. And I was like, oh yeah, let's do it. So I'm glad we did.
And Anne Marie DKSF, she commented again. She said, I'm Peter's niece, so I know for a fact just how proud of you he is.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, he's, like I said, he's the guy. He was the one.
Okay, we actually have a comment from someone in France. Michael.
Oh, bonjour.
Bonjour. Oui, he says, ce comédien est incroyable. My French is a little basic there. He said, an amazing
I'm
performance.
deciphering here, trying to. Thank you. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.
Great. And you talked about being at the stage door and just being there for your fans and to take them in person. And I was curious, did you have any memorable stage door moments that have stuck with you throughout the years? I'm sure there have been so many.
There've been really so many. You know, there's so many moments where I would see young girls dressed up as Jasmine, young boys dressed up as Aladdin. That always, you know, tugged at my heartstrings. I would get couples that said, "Oh, Whole New World played at my wedding." You know, so many special moments that Aladdin has afforded all the people, right? And and you know, they come to the show with these memories and with their personal stories that they bring, and it's amazing because you don't really know when you're on stage. You don't know how much what you're doing is affecting the audience. And that's another reason why I love doing the stage door, because you really get the feedback. You know, yes, they applaud and all that, and that's lovely, but to really know that, you know, this story has changed their lives in some meaningful way, that means a lot more to me than just the applause. Just knowing that they have a connection to the story, and that your performance you know, help them relive that. Or maybe it's, you know, a lot of first time theater goers who are coming to see Aladdin, or first time seeing a Broadway show, and they're like, I had no idea. And, you know, being able to inspire young folks in that way also is incredible. So yeah, there are just so many just incredible moments. We had a Make-A-Wish, Make-A-Wish Foundation came backstage, and I've had so many interactions with the fans, and they've been so generous and grateful, and I appreciate them.
Oh, great. We have Brandon Burgett says, I was a Disney cast member when you came to the Broadway concert series last year and wanted to meet you so bad. You're my biggest idol, role model for musical theater and my musical journey.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I hope to come back there again. You know, that Festival of the Arts is always my favorite gig for sure. It's such a sweet gig. I hope I get to do it again.
Oh, great. Yeah, we have so many fans commenting. We have Busby Julie says, thank you for taking a picture with me when you performed in San Francisco. And Sheila Bila says, getting to meet you in the cast in LA on my birthday was the best present. Thank you. So yes, that's really great to hear that you've taken the time. Yeah, take the time to really make these connections with the people that come and support you.
Yeah, I think it's important. I feel like it's only right. You know, they love the theater, and I want to share that love with them. Yeah. So, yeah. Right.
And I'm sure you've gotten this question so many times also. What have there been any mishaps or anything that goes wrong that you could share with us? I'm sure you've, you know, over the years, of maybe some things that might not have quite gone as rehearsed.
Right. No, I'm going to say nothing has ever gone wrong. It's been perfect 100% of the time. No, we've had some moments where, you know, maybe the carpet didn't want to go. You know, need a little love, little push. And, you know, it'll be like, I get up there and I say, you know, do you trust me? And then you kind of feel like a gunk, and we're like, uh-oh, you know, and curtain comes in, ladies and gentlemen, due to technical difficulties, we'll be back in about 15 minutes. And they actually reset it. And then the curtain goes up. I'm still in that spot. I will have exited and come back on. And I'm still there, and I say the line again. Do you trust me? And she's like, oh, I guess, you know. So, you know, and the audience roars with laughter because it's live theater, right? Live theater, yeah. So many great moments.
Yeah, and so you also played Simba and the Lion King on Broadway. And so, I just want to know, what do you enjoy most about being part of the Disney family, and so you and getting to be a part of this great community?
Disney has been amazing. I mean, they're family oriented. You know, since I had my kids, they've been, and you know, my wife also performed in Mary Poppins on Broadway. Right. So between my sister doing High School Musical and then Aladdin, and you know, we're just like Disney to the core, right? Yeah. And I will continue to work for Disney my whole career because they're literally so supportive. And, you know, if there's anything that you need, they're there for you. They have your back. Somebody's got your back. You see what I did there? It's really just special, a special relationship. And you don't really get that very often. So I felt like I was taken care of every step of the way. And from Simba all the way to Aladdin, it's been, you know, just I loved going up to the offices when we were at the New Amsterdam Theater because they were right above us. And on the weekdays, on Wednesday matinees, for example, there'd be people working up there, and in between shows, oftentimes we'd go up and just say hi and see how you doing, and what's going on, what's happening, and it was just great to have that I don't know, openness with the company and the people that work there. And like I said, you just really felt it was like a family, and you were supported, and there's nothing better than that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And I just want to also wish you happy Filipino American History Month.
Yes.
I'm Filipino as well.
Mabuhay.
And you mentioned that, like, growing up and watching Aladdin as a Filipino boy, like I was Aladdin for Halloween when I was like 5 years old, so I feel that.
Of course, I was too. I can't remember which one it was, but I know I was.
And yet, so your mother is Filipino and your father is Jewish, Russian, Dutch, and Polish. And I'm
Yeah.
just wondering, how has your identity formed who you are as an artist?
Right. I think growing up, it was a little tough because I was sort of stuck in the middle. I didn't really know. I kind of had friends in different groups and I was floating between them. I had, a couple of Filipino friends that I was, really close to but in terms of my, identity, it took some time to sort of be okay with being one foot in one world and another foot in another, one foot in the other. So, and then I did realize in my career, well, in the beginning, I was sort of falling through the cracks. I wasn't, Asian enough. I wasn't Latino enough for this. And then I would be getting that feedback. But then I did find eventually that sort of became my strength because I was mixed. I was able to play quite a wide variety of different roles. And I actually kind of got a nickname from a friend. He's like, "You're the chameleon." We call you chameleon because, I've played everything from like Bible Belt preacher, Native American, Zorro. I played Zorro. And then Aladdin and everything. So it's and Simba. So it's kind of cool that what I thought was something that was a weakness eventually kind of became my biggest asset. So that was lucky. And it's sometimes that you have to realize that those unique parts about you are that's what it's going to set you apart. Essentially, that's what's going to set you apart and help you play and play the roles with truth that you get to play.
Oh, that's really great. I love that. And so I want to talk about growing up here in the Bay Area and in Half Moon Bay. I just want to know, how did you get involved in theater?
Right. So in the beginning, I was doing piano and solfege up at the San Francisco Conservatory. Right. So I did music first, and Asian mom put me on piano, and I did that for about 8 years, and then again, it was my sister who started doing this Razzle Dazzle Kids group, and she kind of wrote me into that. Of course, I was at the age I was like, girls were starting to look cute, so I was like, all right, check it out. And that's how I kind of got started with my voice lessons with her voice teacher. And then, it was 7th grade, I played Oliver. In Oliver. 8th grade, I was Curly in Oklahoma at St. Matt's Catholic School in San Mateo, St. Matthew's.
Ariel just commented, said it was my fault.
It was her fault. There she is. She's here. Hi, sis. Yes. Hello. I do either blame her or I credit her. I kind of go back and forth between the two. On days that I'm feeling like I want to blame her, I will blame her for getting me into this business. Other days I'll be like, yep, she's the one who got me where I am. They're both true.
Yeah. Oh, great. Do you have any... So you played Oliver when you were young. Do you remember your other first productions?
So Oliver was the 7th grade, Curly, Oklahoma, 8th grade. I also did a production of West Side Story up at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music one summer. I did that. And then also I did my first professional production. Ariel and I did Honor Song for Crazy Horse, which was through TheaterWorks down in Palo Alto.
Oh, yeah.
And that was amazing because we were immersed. It was a fully Native American cast and us, Filipinos.
Right.
Being exposed and sort of welcomed, brought into that world was incredible. And then I got to play with the San Francisco Opera. I played young Harvey Milk in the documentary opera. And that was transformative because that was such a powerful experience because we performed that show the anniversary of his assassination. And we did a march down Market Street, candlelit march, and reenacted it, and then went in and did the show. And I was just like, wow, theater has the power to really, bring people together and to help change for the good, bring about change. And so I was definitely hooked after that.
Yeah, I think that we're really lucky here in the Bay Area that we have such a great theater community and art community. This is
Yeah.
Sheila Bila03 says, I interned at Theater Works, and I actually myself used to work at Theater Works before working at BroadwaySF.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's a
Well,
great community here.
give Robert Kelly my love. I'm not sure if he's retired or not, but
Right, yes, he just retired this past year.
oh,
So,
well, there you go.
yeah. And so what was your education path like? And so how did you get from being here in the Bay Area to where you are today?
So my parents wanted to get me into private school, St. Matt's Catholic, and then St. Ignatius, the Jesuit school. And I think it wasn't that they were uber religious or anything, but because, my dad's Jewish, my mom's Catholic, and it wasn't a big part of our lives really growing up, but they knew that they had the best education. They offered, the best classes and all that. So really, I felt like in high school is where I kind of got most of my education. College, you're like, yeah, whatever. No, but high school, I did all the shows there, and I had amazing English teachers and literature and government and all that stuff, all that amazing things that are in the world. And then having that strong foundation to then come to New York and pursue a career in the arts, I think it helped me just to have knowledge, sort of a wide array of knowledge in a lot of different subjects coming into college. I do find that a lot of the best actors are the ones that know a little bit about a lot of different subjects and are able to sort of bring that to the table. That's why, reading books about biology and, science and everything I think it's important to just kind of be well-rounded in that way. And I think SI definitely gave me that.
Great. Yeah, and we have a question here from Ray Athena, and they ask, what's your advice for someone who isn't pursuing theater in college, but still wants to be a performer and an actor in New York City or San Francisco?
Well, you know what? Broadway is not the end-all, be-all. I always tell people that. And even if you're not pursuing theater, there are people out there who love it. And there are so many great programs right probably in your backyard, right? In San Francisco, there are tons of amazing theaters. I haven't been there in a while, but I know that there are. And in New York City as well, there's so many just storefront, small theaters that are doing amazing work, and they don't get the publicity and the credit that they should, because in Chicago, there's over like 200 theaters that are doing, and you'll have these stars kind of pop in and do a show and then go back to their big TV gigs. So my point is, it's accessible, it's there, and if you want to go for that, it's definitely there for you. And I would recommend, just keep training, taking classes and voice, and you will have opportunities. You'll have opportunities to do what you love.
Right. And I think that also speaks to what you said earlier about just like finding and like really accentuating your strengths and finding your ways to make your weaknesses your strengths as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like I said, maybe you think, oh, I'm too short, I'm never going to be a Rockette. Sure, you might not be a Rockette. That's fine. But there are so many other amazing things out there that you can do. So you want to have goals attainable goals. And you also kind of need to know who you are and what you can do, but also challenge yourself. So it's kind of finding that balance, right? I see, Brandon asked here, are there many people in Broadway who don't have degrees in musical theater? And yeah, there are a lot. There are a lot of people who have trained or gotten degrees. My wife got a degree in psychology before she performed on Broadway. So it happens. People can start at any time, right? You don't have to train your whole life. I mean, with the exception of maybe like being a ballet dancer, you need to have that training from kind of early, even though then there are other people who started in college who are incredible, right? So, I have to give that caveat. So you really can start at any time and be successful. You just got to work hard and have patience, because, people think, oh, I'm graduated, I got my resume, I'm going down to 42nd Street. All right, where's the job?
Right.
It's not happening. Right? You got to wait. It doesn't always work that way.
Right. And then we have another question here from a fan. This is from Jumi Doja asked, do you miss performing on Broadway?
Oh yeah, I mean, I love that Broadway community, the people and the energy. Obviously, being in New York, and you know, if Broadway were to give me a phone call, I would listen. And you know, it'd have to be the right project now. I've just become a little bit more, you know, picky with stuff. As you kind of are lucky, you get to be picky as you progress in your career. But yeah, I miss the crew. I miss everybody, the stage management. You know, I just miss that feeling. I recently watched. They did on the Red Steps in New York City. They sang Sunday in the Park with Carolee Carmello and with Bernadette Peters, and I was like, this is. And I saw so many familiar faces, and I was just. It brought me so much joy to see them up there, even though they had their face shields, but they were singing their hearts out and saying, "Look. Here I am here, I'm still here." Yeah. And we are, you know, we're coming back. You just gotta wait, but we're coming back. And you know, that resilience, it's nothing else like it. And the New Yorkers have it, and Broadway has it. And so it's very inspiring it was very inspiring to see that. And I know eventually I will get back at some point. You know, right now I'm just kind of loving being with my kids. But I know we'll work it out. If it's something, you know, we'll work it out. That's what you got to do in life.
Exactly. Yeah, that video was, that performance was, as you said, really inspiring.
Right? It's like they're my friends. Like, and just people that I miss. You know, having moved away too, it's like just another element. I'm like, there's so many faces that I miss, and even though I'm not very close personal friends with them, they're my community, and it just makes me happy to see them doing it.
And I just had a question about your Broadway debut. And so you made your Broadway debut as Amores in Les Mis and on the national tour as well. Do you have any fond memories from that production?
Oh yeah, Les Mis was an amazing experience because you had these bunch of just testosterone guys, you know. And you know, we played the Broadway softball and really get into it. We would do hacky sack before we'd be in our convict outfits doing hacky sack to warm up. You know, and I was like, oh, are you guys all from San Francisco or something? You know. So it was just incredible to have that sort of familiarity with these group of guys, and then you're doing Broadway, you know. It's because I started with the tour first with that show with Les Mis, playing Marius, and then got to play the role on Broadway in the '06 revival. And you know, coming to the Broadway production and performing with all these Broadway veterans, I'm like, you know, this is better than any master class you could ever have. You know, seeing Gary Beach do Thénardier, and you know, it was incredible. I was just blown away by their work ethic and their professionalism and their performance and how they approach the roles. And I just learned so much being in that show. And yeah, I mean, it was, I remember the first moment before the music starts, you know, bum, bum, and you're just backstage, and opening night, I'm like, we're going. I got my hand on my shoulder. The guy behind me, we're the chain gang, we're walking in, and I'm just like, my heart is just beating out of my chest because it was opening night. And I just remember that moment and it was amazing.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I can, just like I'm glad the moment is stuck with you, just like the physicality, like you could just transport you instantly to that, what that felt like. Yeah,
I could feel the hands on my shoulders, the imaginary chains on my legs, and the feeling of the rag, you know, the itchiness of the, you know, you just feel it all. It's just immediately comes all back. Yeah.
Do you have moments like that from Aladdin that really were just like, oh, like pinch me moments, or moments where it's like, oh, this is happening, I'm gonna remember this moment for forever? Like, do you have moments
for sure.
like that?
Like the first time I rode the carpet, I mean, that was, you can't even dream about those type of moments. I mean, you could dream about them, but they very rarely happen. And the fact that I got to have that dream happen was, you know, just mind blowing to me. And obviously I was a little nervous because I don't know which way it's going to go. And, and so we were kind of holding on to each other. And there are moments that the Tonys was a big moment for me, because speaking of Les Mis, they also performed that year. They had a revival, and, it was Ramin, Kareem Liu, and they were doing One Day More in front of the big electronic scrim as we were setting up for
behind them
for Aladdin. Yeah, because they were literally the performance right before me. So I'm standing there in my Aladdin costume, and I'm doing One Day More with them behind. And I'm like, this is so surreal. This is so surreal right now that I'm doing this. And then in 2 minutes, they're going to end, and there's going to be 5,000 people there for Radio City. And Lucy Liu is introducing, and there's Audra, there's everybody, Glenn Close, and they're like, so that was just an incredible, like, whoa, look how far I've come, basically. And just like, how's that possible that moment was happening, that they happened to open, to do their number right before me. And
that's pretty
universe.
Surreal.
That's the universe talking to you right there.
Right. Yeah. So many like full circle moments in your life, sounds like. And I know that you've talked about your wife, Kelly, and I just wanted to know, because she also performed on Broadway in Mary Poppins, and how did you two meet, and how did this what's the story?
We met during doing a Christmas show in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I had just gotten off a cruise ship. She was doing, I think, another theme park, and we met there, and we just hit it off right away. We were paired up as waltz partners, and of course, we like to blame it on the chocolate, because they have hot chocolate around every corner, and little chocolates under the pillows, and when they give you the check, and it's just everywhere. And you can't get away from it. And they waft it through the air. It's like chocolate everywhere. So we blame it on that. But and we hit it off really well. And then she went to Tokyo Disney, actually, for 7 months to perform, and that was tough. I was like, we know that there's something here. So I actually went out to Tokyo a couple times to kind of keep that flame alive, and then
moved
back to New York, moved in together, and the rest is history.
And here you are with twins. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
With twins. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I just let's see if we have any other questions here. It looks like we have, this is from Nicktastic_amen. Excuse me, Mr. Jacobs, I want to be an actor like you, and I was hoping to give some words of wisdom. And so I know that we've talked about advice for people, but I just want to know, what's some advice that you would give your younger self?
I think if I were talking to my younger self, I would say, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Have patience. Things are going to work out in their own time. Because as a kid, you're like, I want everything to happen right now, especially in this day and age, instant gratification age. You're like, you want it now. And some things take time, and you got to work for them, and you just got to kind of know that, and don't stress out too much, and kind of, don't be afraid to let loose and have fun with what you're doing in the training. Right. And I think I was kind of a little shy growing up, and it was interesting. I was more of an introvert, I think, growing up, and acting and singing was definitely my creative outlet and a way to express myself, because I felt like I didn't know how to do it in real life. Right. It was cathartic for me, therapeutic almost. And so, I would just say, be comfortable in your own skin, and confident in who you are, and know that with hard work and patience, you'll get there.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we have another question here. This is from Pasta on My Plate. Would you ever consider starting a production in San Francisco, like Roman Holiday, which we did a couple years ago?
Oh, are you offering me a job? Are you a casting director? Sure. Just my agents, give them a call. I would love to come back to San Francisco and do a show there. I always love performing there. I've I did another concert up at the Venetian Room recently through the Broadway in San Francisco cabaret series with Marilyn Levinson, and I have to give a shout out to her. And yeah, I always love just performing there, and anytime a show would come through there, I love it. Obviously, it's my hometown. And, you know, to be able to get down to Half Moon Bay, to Barber's Fish Trap, or to go to Fisherman's Wharf, or to visit my school, you know, it's just, there's so many great things. I actually stayed in the Sunset District this last time I was there. And, you know, I was in there with all the Asians and the surfers, right near the donut shop, the Devil's, I forget the name of it. But yeah, I just love that city, and Golden Gate Park, you know, Presidio, all of it. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful place, and I will take any opportunity to come back and do something for sure.
Oh, great. Well, I'm sure you know that, but we here in San Francisco, we love you so much, and we're so grateful that we've had this opportunity to talk to you today, but also to have you as Aladdin here in your hometown. And it was so glad that you've got to share this experience with Peter at SI and with other people that have been so influential growing up, and to share Aladdin with them all these years later. It must have been such an awesome experience. It was,
and yeah, it was definitely an experience of a lifetime and a pleasure. And like you said, the full circle moment. If there was a title for this interview, it's, you know, full circle moments with Adam Jacobs. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate the time you've taken to talk to us. And is there anything else that you'd like to share with everyone who's tuned in?
I just want to say, you know, it's a tough time right now. We all know that, but it'll be over soon, and we just have to, you know, take a deep breath, breathe, and we'll get through it together. So I just want to let people know that, and wear your masks and go vote.
Yes, everyone, that's great advice. I believe the last day to register is here in California. I believe it's October 17, or around there. Yeah, that's great advice. Wear a mask and vote.
Go vote and make a plan to vote. Don't just think you're going to wake up and go vote. No, like, you know, schedule it out so you know what you're doing and make a plan.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much, and you can follow Adam on Twitter and Instagram at Adam Jacobs NYC. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Great. Thanks, Adam.
Bye-bye.